everybody on this call. Thank you all for continuing to work around the clock and keep us all safe and make sure we have everything we need. I know we greatly appreciate it, even just from a general public point of view. So because of that, I guess we'll just go ahead and we will get started here. We got some strong to severe storms moving eastward tomorrow. I'm calling it a disorganized line because we're not going to look at one of these, really just strong lines that sweeps through and you've got 20 minutes of severe weather. It's going to be kind of messy, kind of pop-up thunderstorms all over the place. We'll probably see some thunderstorms in the morning that aren't going to be severe, and I'll show you some timing on that later, with the highest threat of severe storms being more towards late morning, early afternoon. And damaging wind still looks like to be the highest threat, although we're not going to rule out a brief tornado or two. The other hazard that's going to be really important for you all is these strong winds ahead of the storm. So outside of a thunderstorm, our winds are going to be gusting potentially 30 to 40 miles an hour with sustained of 20 to 30 miles an hour as well. And that's really important for those of you who do have those tent testing sites out. And just one little thing on rainfall, half an inch to an inch. Obviously, if you get under a thunderstorm, you possibly are going to get more than an inch, but that's generally what we're expecting across the area. So this is the Storm Prediction Center's current outlook. As you can see, half the area at a slight risk, the Florida Panhandle in a marginal risk, and that's just because of basically where a warm front is going to set up. So I'm thinking about the timing. I put this in my email. We did a couple different timing graphs. I'm not sure if you guys have had a chance to look at it before the webinar. A little bit different than what we normally do, and that's strictly because of the extra things going on with the testing and some of people outdoors and just, more going on with this support right now. We wanted to try to give you a little bit more information from the timing. So this first graphic, what I'm trying to convey here is when you might just see a thunderstorm. We're not talking 58 mile per hour severe thunderstorms, but right now we know basically any thunderstorm could be hazardous to anybody outside or intense. So you could start to see any isolated to scattered showers and thunderstorms in the early morning hours moving from west to east, and you can kind of see where we have it delineated here. And like every timing graphic, remember these are not exact. If you're in Mariana, doesn't mean it's going to be right at that time, right at 11 a.m., right at 10 a.m. We're just trying to give you guys some rough ideas of when you could see that first thunderstorm for the day. And then we go into the next slide, and this is the timing where I want to show you when the most likely time you're going to start to see those severe storms. So think that you're going to have these scattered to widespread thunderstorms most of the day, and then once we start to get that afternoon heating is when we're going to start to see the chance for those severe storms, those 58 mile per hour, possibly some quarter-size hail, and possibly tornadoes. So again, it'll move a little bit like a west to east, even though it'll be a broken line. So highest chance of these severe storms, strongest winds are going to be about after 1 p.m. Eastern time, all the way out east to about 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. I do apologize to my Central Time people. Kind of just kept everything at Eastern time right now to save some space, make it a little easier to keep everything kind of sane with everything that's going on. And because of those winds, we are going to have a wind advisory out. We did publish it about 10 minutes ago, right before we got on the call. Mobile is up with us. Just a little explanation kind of on why we left some areas out. And that's really just looking at where that low-level wind is going to be, where that low-level jet, as we like to call it, where that's really going to highlight in some of those areas. And this could always change or expand, tonight with the midnight shift. We've got a little bit of time. But this is right now where the highest winds are going to be. If you're outside of that, so let's say you're in, Coffee County, Dale, Henry, up towards the Georgia counties that aren't in it, you're still going to see winds 20 to 30 miles an hour. It's just we're kind of looking at that 30 to 35 criteria for a wind advisory. This next timing slide is the one that's a little wild that I've never used before. I'm going to be honest, if it's confusing or it's great, one or the other, and you all feel like you want to reach out and let me know, feel free. I was just getting a little bit kind of desperate on how to explain to you the timing of this wind speed, because I want to make sure that you guys can keep these testing sites open as long as possible. And always, this is a general time frame. You can always use our point and click. You go into weather.gov/TAE, click on your spot, and you can actually see an hourly weather graph down on the right side, and that can kind of show in your particular location what this graph's going to look like. So my whole point here is to basically show you that starting at 10 a.m. Eastern time, throughout the day, 12 to 2, and then 2 to 6, the winds are going to ramp up throughout the day, and we're going to see our peak wind right about that 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. That's when you're going to see your 25 to 30 sustained, with some occasional gusts up to 40. And then as we get towards the evening, you can start to see the wind speed start to decrease again. So I'm going to leave that there for a second or two for you guys to digest that. Remember, it is still in the email, and it will be online at that webpage. I sent you all an email if you wanted to go back and look at it. And that's why I said on the email to maybe avoid posting this on social media. I'm not sure if this would make a lot of sense out of context to the general public. But for you all, it's just kind of to give you a better timing on some of these wind speeds. And lastly, same repeat from the summary slide, strong to severe storms moving in from the west, but we'll probably see some thunderstorms early in the morning. Damaging winds will be the highest threat. We're also going to have to be watching out for these strong sub-severe wind speeds, and we'll get about a half an inch or less of rainfall. So give me 1 second. I am going to get out of the recording before I get some questions. Call recording is off. All right, I'm going to unmute you all unless it gets a little too unruly, and then I'll mute you, but let me unmute. Everyone can talk now. All right, I will take questions from anybody, and I can move through some slides if I need to. I know you can kind of see the small ones on the screen.
Lauren, this is Cindy from Fort Rucker. My screen is stuck. I haven't seen the new wind speed timing yet. Could you advance to that, please?
Yes. Let me let's see. Would you want the thunderstorm timing or just the wind speeds?
The new one that you were talking about?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that should be on the screen right now. So if you're frozen, it might be completely frozen. And also, I guess I got rid of this NWS chat one on here, but if you guys don't have an NWS chat account, Google search NWS chat, and you can get an account, reset your password, everything like that, and we'll get you approved for tomorrow.
And he's on the way there. Said he'll be there.
Lauren, this is Ashley from Lowndes County.
Yeah.
Really the only question I have, the wind speed graphics are pretty self-explanatory, so I think that's good. The only other concern I would have with the people under these tents, and our timing would probably be the non-severe thunderstorms. I'm not sure if you can answer this, but do you anticipate there being a lot of lightning with these storms, or is it primarily going to be just the wind and rain?
That is actually kind of an interesting question. I'm going to say yes, though, just kind of looking at what our atmospheric profiles look like. There's a lot of moisture up there and dry air, which usually leads to a good amount of lightning once these storms start going. The early morning storms, those might just be a couple lightning strikes here and there, but I'd say by the early afternoon, once it gets going, these could be pretty prolific lightning producers.
Thank you.
All right, if you guys have